What is up?
I wasn't ready.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
What's everybody? No, what did I say?
What is everybody?
What is everybody? Hello, everyone watching on the replay. We're still out of practice from doing these and what to say. So, it's a live stream today, but we've also got some questions, some mailbag questions. Sorry, our dog is going a little nuts.
There's a fly.
Yeah, the fly is trying to get him. But we've been getting lots of emails from you guys, and I just wanted to take the time to answer some of those on video because sometimes it's easier to answer them here than it is in email format because one, I'm not a very good writer, but two, I feel like they're good questions and that would probably help out a lot of people. What's going on? What's going on, Andy?
What's going
on, Andy? Andy, please make more videos.
I know, we love your videos.
Yeah, I know it's that that balance from doing a lot of videos or doing minimal videos with some really good edits, and I know that you've got that balance going on, but we always like your videos. So if you haven't checked out his channel,
do it.
And awesome, thank you, Uncle Bo. We appreciate you. We know there's a lot of silent, I guess,
watchers, people.
Well, they're called
supporters?
Lurkers, but not silent lurkers.
Hey.
Is that what they're called? We used to call people who would, and back in the day, we had, dang, what were those rooms called?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Forums. We'd have forums. Do they even do forums now?
Yeah, I think so.
But we would have those people that would read, but they wouldn't comment or like or anything. So,
so back to the subject.
Yes.
And we'll get some of these comments that you just keep posting these questions because we'll try and get to them too as well. But Joe and I, we answer quite a few emails throughout the week regarding liquidation, and we love that. Feel free to send them in. If we haven't answered you, send us another email. We're totally okay with that.
Yes.
Because sometimes our inbox, I'm working on an organization system.
And go ahead, sorry, I interrupted you.
You so interrupted me.
I
but
do that a lot.
as we get more questions and more things like that, if something slips through the cracks, I'm trying to work out a system where that doesn't happen. But just shoot us another email, let us know. We want to be able to answer those questions. But with these particular questions, we've answered the best that we could with those particular people.
Not yet these people.
Not these people.
Not
okay.
these people.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And what we'll probably start doing, if you email us, we will probably email you if we do a dedicated video for those questions, or if we're going to talk about it in a live stream, I'll reply back with the video link if it's a video, or if we're going to do live, I will say that in there just because it's good stuff. So
yeah, so if you are already in the liquidation game, you will know already that it is very, very dependent on your individual situation, where you're located, how you can sell items, where you're buying from, things like that. So I like to address some of these questions in a way that allows me to process that out, especially if somebody's watching who may be very interested in that question. But also, I want to make sure that we have the ability for people who are watching that are looking into getting into liquidation to be able to start thinking about these things to avoid more mistakes down the road. You will make mistakes, that's just part of the game, but at least in this way you can be a little more prepared on what that looks like. So,
hello, if we missed y'all, Paige, we thank you. I'll answer your question shortly. Hello, Alex.
Shamrock
I'll
Pixie.
answer your question. Shamrock Pixie, hello, and Ashley Fordham, thank you very much for our videos from Georgia. Awesome. So there's some I want to talk about briefly before we start answering questions, and it's the current liquidation climate. Is that talking with multiple sales reps this last week is that we are in very interesting time. I mean, we're in interesting times in the world as a whole with COVID-19 and with all of the civil rights movement stuff going on right now. It's very interesting times, and it has had an effect on the liquidation world. Is that currently with liquidation is that there is a shortage of goods is that a lot of the big box stores, they stopped taking returns for a period of time. And I think some of them have started taking back returns, but they are in quarantine for I don't know how long. But there is lots of goods that are being stored in warehouses that aren't being sold to liquidators right now. So you have a shortage of goods, and we've probably had one for probably the last month. And then compile that is that lots of people are still getting that are, the 30 plus million people who are unemployed, who are getting the unemployment checks and who are getting the extra $600 a week. And then you've got the economic stimulus checks that people have been getting and are still getting. Is that this has created a consumer base that has a lot more money than they've had before. Like there's people who are making more money on unemployment than they were working at their job. So they have this extra money and they're sitting at home wanting something to do, and it's created a demand for buying liquidation pallets, because a lot of people, they get on YouTube, they watch our videos. We try to do a lot of entertainment stuff. We don't really give out bolos or what to buy, because like Jessica said earlier, every area, every seller is so different that for us to tell you to buy this, it may work horribly for you, whereas other people, it may be the next best thing since sliced bread. You just never know. So more people with more money and less inventory, which has caused prices to go up, which has created this problem that we're in. So if you're new to liquidation and you're interested in it, I'm not telling you not to do it, but right now,
just know that the numbers don't match the normal climate.
Like there are auctions that are going like on Bstock, which I have a question about Bstock that we're going to answer. Like there are truckloads and there are pallets that are going on Bstock, different websites on Bstock like Target and Walmart, that are going for double and triple what they normally should. It's like if you have a $10,000 pallet, that normally that pallet would probably go around 20% of retail, meaning that it would go for around $2,000. But because of the times that we're in, that same pallet is going for $5,000 and $6,000, which is crazy. I don't know how people are making money with that, because typically, depending on if it's a shelf pull or a return, you might be a hopeful number would be to get 70% of the retail value. You got that, sweetheart? Yeah.
Good job.
So it's a very weird climate that we're in with the liquidation industry. The people that I have talked to, that they're hoping that things will stabilize in the next 6 to 8 weeks, which will be around the time that people are start running out of money, that unemployment, unless they pass another stimulus package, which I believe that they will. I just don't know how it's going to be divvied up. But around the time that people will probably have less money, the market's going to get flooded with lots of returns and shelf pulls. So prices will go down some in the liquidation world. So make sure you are shopping around to make sure that you are getting the best value. And if you're not sure what the value is, there's always the group that will recommend Product Sourcing 101. Yes, there's positive feedback, there's negative feedback about the group, but the people in the group, just like me and Jessica, there's people who do this thing for a living, that they are always very, very helpful. So get in that group, ask them what percentage you should expect to pay for different types of pallets and loads, and they will be able to help you out. But before we answer these questions that we have from emails, let me go ahead and answer some of these questions that you guys have. So Paige, if you are still on, liquidation.com is not combining shipments for us just yet, which they're not doing anyways because of COVID-19. That normally, like the different shipping companies, I don't know why they were doing it, but just a short answer, I don't want to make it too hard, because the next person, the best freight shipping company, goes hand in hand. I would look up Arkansas Best Freight. I will put the website for them down in the description after this video. That they are it's a Arkansas-based shipping freight company. That they do provide shipping around the world. They have some good rates. and I will give you a specific contact that you can email them and look at getting some prices for them, because they, for the prices that we get, granted, like we got some pretty good rates. I don't know how we got, maybe because of the volume. I don't know. I know with freighters, the more volume you do, the better rates that you do. But Arkansas Best Freight, so that answers the question from Alex.
And you guys
Paige.
can also look around locally in your local areas
Yes.
and see what freight options you have available there, because a lot of times if you're near the home base, like, you might be able to get something, you know, because we did work it out with people locally before, when we bought truckloads, that they went and delivered something to the city and then, you know, picked it up and brought it back on their way back to home base, and we ended up getting a pretty good deal on some of our truckloads as well. So, you know, be creative. You know, ABF, Arkansas Best Freight, we've had really good experiences with them. They've been wonderful. And so we would recommend them if you're looking into it. But also, don't forget to look for local freighting companies around where you live. You may be able to find a similar deal.
Yeah.
Or something, and then be able to support your local community as well. So,
Follow-up question from Paige was asking about being able to get your own freight. You can pick up 2 on your own. So I think from understanding, you can, like with liquidation, normally you can combine ship, but if you set up your own freight through like ABF, or there's what's that one? There's uship.com that we have used in the past. They're like a freight brokerage, meaning that you put in what you want, when you want it, and they will give you a quote from many different companies. You can get that, but you can get multiple pallets picked up at the same time. But keep in mind, Paige, that right now, because of COVID-19, that there are certain trucking companies that they, in order for them to take on the freight onto their truck to pick it up, they have to be able to get onto the dock at liquidation.com to be able to inspect it. So we ran into that problem where we had arranged shipping for a company, but because they couldn't get on the loading dock at liquidation.com at the one facility in I don't know, in Dallas. I forget the other city it's called. But they couldn't pick it up because they couldn't inspect it because of liquidation.com's COVID-19 policies. So
this is a weird place. It's a weird time that we're in, where we're, you know, I know a lot of people are learning and trying to figure stuff out, but also know that some of the stuff that applies right now, some of the obstacles that we're having to go through right now, are not typical obstacles. So just keep that in mind with, you know, shopping for freight, trying to figure out what's going on and things like that. So y'all keep those questions coming. We've got a few listed here, but if you guys have any other questions, we love to be able to talk about that, clarify a few things, you know, whatever you need.
And I'm sure, I don't know, but Coxie, I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there for it. You've got the wrong channel, because we don't do Legos around here.
I like Legos. What are we talking about? I like Legos.
Yeah. Anyways, while you're reading that, I'll go on the next question.
Okay.
Cody says, can you buy direct from liquidation through a sales rep? I believe that you can if you're buying by the truckload, because they do so much volume that they do have some direct sales, but it's going to be by the truckload. If it's looking at individual pallets, it's all going to be through their website with the auctions, because that's the system that they have set up that works well for them. So truckload, yes. Individual pallets, probably not. But there's a chance you can probably email them, but probably not. If you're looking for an individual sales rep for places, and we always encourage people anyways, that the big liquidation companies that you can find on the front page of Google are generally going to be more expensive, because that's the easiest ones to find. Like when you think of the main companies, you've got VIA Trading, which is really on the West Coast. You have Direct Liquidation, Bulk.com, Liquidation.com. Those are the main websites. They are going to be a little bit more costly because everybody knows about them. It's the local places that don't do a lot of advertising that you have to find on Facebook searches or on Google maps, that you find those places and you work on building relationships with them, because in this business, relationships are key, because having a good relationship with a sales rep will save you a lot of money, time, and heartache, because they will make sure that they're not selling you junk. Because in this business, like liquidation pallet flipping, it has a stigma about it, because there are those people out there that they just want your money. Like, they are just in it. They come into the industry very, very quickly, and they're just trying to make a buck. So they just sell junk. And then you get the junk and can't make any money. But it's the people who have been in it, the companies who have been in it for a long time, like American Pallet Liquidators. They're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, just over the river in Indiana. They've been doing it for a long time. We have a good sales rep there. We don't buy a lot from them, which was another question that we had from an emailer about why we don't buy from American Pallet Liquidators anymore. And it's because for the goods that we like, they don't have them. And if they do have them, they only do it by the truckload. And we're not in a position to buy truckloads anymore, just because we've scaled down a little bit, because we didn't want to work so much. But we would if the right opportunity came along.
Oh, Alex is asking, are we buying a lot right now to come up on top and hope to make money on the hyped price, or are we staying on the sidelines waiting for prices to stabilize? We're kind of in the middle there. We're definitely not just buying a whole bunch of pallets.
We haven't bought it. We bought the last 4 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've had them for about 2 weeks. We've got 2 that we haven't unboxed. I've been looking to buy, but honestly, there hasn't been a whole lot. We like the shelf pulls right now. We really love the Amazon medium box pallets.
Yeah, that's what we do well.
And we've
with
been
those.
waiting for those. We've been keeping cash to the side, waiting on those, but they're not available right now. So we've been doing the Amazon shelf pulls, but there hasn't been a lot of those in about 2 weeks. So it's not that we're sitting on the sidelines. We're in a position where we have lots of inventory. So depending on how you are and where you're at with your inventory, and whether you're needing to buy something or not buy something, that's going to determine whether you want to buy something or not. So like, if you need something to do, you need inventory to keep your business going, then you're going to have to buy, but just know that you're not going to make as much money. So if you're in a position where, like right now, we believe that cash is king. So having cash on hand, having liquid capital in your hand in the bank, not sitting on a retail shelf, that's the best bet right now, until you can get more understanding of how the market is trending with the economic times that we're in.
Yeah, we get a lot of comments a lot of times when we, price our items, and people say like, oh, wow, you are pricing that really low. You could probably get more from it. And that's true, but I can't use that money to further the business if it's sitting on a shelf waiting for the right buyer. If I can put more buyers in my pot to keep my cash flow going, then yes, I can get more. Now like what he said, we're in a place where we do have a lot more inventory, so we're not like, oh, we have to get something right now. But we are not opposed to buying pallets. For us, just our business model, and given all of our expenses and everything like that, if we can double our money on any one pallet, that's our goal. So if we look at a pallet and we say, okay, we see these items, we know how we're going to move. I mean, you can't see everything, but you get better at your eye when you are auctioning things and looking at boxes and what they might be. And if that's the case, I say, yeah, we could probably double our money on that. Then we'll go ahead and get it and organize, shipping or whatnot that we need to do.
Before I forget, make sure he's still in Merrick 7, pallet of running shoes. I know Bstock has shoes. If you go to bstock.com, they have, hello Lucy, they have lots of different retailers that have their own site that they sell on through Bstock. There is several shoe companies that are on there that do sell shoes, but they're going to be expensive, probably 30 to 40% of retail, just because it's a highly, with liquidation, the more focused the pallets are, the more organized the pallets are, within the specific category, usually the more they cost, because people don't have to go through a lot of stuff that they don't need.
Lucy, chill
But
out, girl.
I would check out bstock.com. You do have to have a reseller's certificate to be able to buy from Bstock. So if you don't have one, that's the next step that you're going to have. But other than that, I'm not sure who exactly sells pallets by the shoe. I think VIA Trading does sell shoes also, and they're on the West Coast, and they do sell shoes. I just don't know what kinds.
Cool.
And then,
Man, I'm loving this. You guys are asking some good questions.
Yeah. Cody, there's lots of, you are in like Indiana. That is like, there are so many liquidators in Indiana. So send me an email. If you go to the About page on our YouTube channel, you can send an email there. And I will send you the ones that I know. I know American Pallet Liquidators is there in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'm not sure how, I think they're like the southeast corner. I'm not sure exactly how far that is, but I can send you the email address of my sales rep there. His name is Cole, but I can send that to you. But send me an email and then I can share the other ones to you. And then Uncle Bo wants to know about our water guns.
Them dadgum water guns.
We have sold some. Well, we haven't sold. We've got people committed to buy, but we haven't made the exchange. We've got her dad is going to buy some for our kids.
I mean, like that's where we're at
and
with
then
the water gun.
he's getting 6, and then we
For
have
them.
another guy who's wanting to buy like 10 or 15. So we still have about 120 left. I just got an email last night from an Amazon seller who he is interested in buying them. So we are entering.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
That's news to me too.
We are entering
Awesome.
the negotiation stage. But if you sell on Amazon and you're ungated in toys, I'm willing to sell them for $8 each. If I sell them for $8, you make $8. And the thing is right now they're out of stock on Amazon, right? And they're ranked 3,500 in toys. So if you know anything about Amazon, that means that they're probably selling around 100 a day on Amazon. So you could sell pretty much all of these very, very quickly if you did it.
If you could sell on Amazon.
If you could
which
sell on
we
Amazon,
cannot.
and if you're like, I'm willing to prep them for you. So like all you'd have to do is send me the labels, the UPC, whatever the little sheet of paper is, I forget what it's called, the labels to put on across the UPC barcode and the shipping label, and I'll send them to the distribution centers for you. But I make 8, you make 8. So
hold on, Faith, you guys are absolutely the best. Oh, and you're starting a business with your girlfriend. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I'm all about the
we can
startups.
give you lots of advice about that, about relationships and communication.
I don't know if y'all know this, but when Joe and I got married and we were doing this, I was actually not a supportive spouse. I actually did not like this. Joe, it was an uphill battle for him. Look at it. He's like, yes. But yeah, so I've always been meaning to talk about that. I didn't know how much value it would add, but I've always been meaning to talk about, my experience with that and what that looks like.
We need to do that soon because lots of people are commenting, and I have emails and messages are commenting about how awesome it is to have our dynamic together. But what we don't like, we've been married, it'll be 5 years in September. And we've really only gelled probably the last year. Like the first 4 years was very rocky in our business relationship, which made it rocky in our personal relationship because we didn't know how to communicate. I'm very high speed. She's very slow paced. Mm-hmm. But also I'm a very,
You're blocking my face, girlfriend.
Dumb. I don't.
Dumb.
No, let's say dominating.
Dominant.
Person,
I was
but
like, you're not dumb.
I don't want people to get the wrong impression. They don't know the language.
He is a very forward individual. Like with Joe, what you see is what you get. The person that you see talking to you today is a person you're going to see, and he's very in your face. He's very forward. He's very, and I'm not really that way. And I think the big part about this, and you know, this is a whole nother conversation for another time, so I'll just leave it with this, but like one of the biggest things is it got to a point where we found our value in it. That my personality style and my, you know, dreams and all of the things that make me who I am, there is a place for that in the business that is ours. And Joe learning how to step back and say, wow, I need to relinquish some of this because I've been doing it on my own for so long. I need to learn how to trust my spouse and relinquish, hey, baby, when you do, I know it's funny, but when you do that, they can't see us.
Yeah.
And
Because you're so cute that
I know
you distract people.
Aunt Amy here sees you. She's watching, and she says that you're a ham on this video. That you're being a little ham. Are you being a little ham?
But to say we have taken it's taken a lot of work.
Yeah.
So for those that you're saying, like, we're an inspiration and like, we appreciate that, but just know that like it didn't just happen.
Yeah, this was a lot of work.
It took a lot of work, and we even still have our moments where like I want to because I want to go, like I see opportunity, I just want to jump, and she's like, hold up, wait a minute, don't go there because I'm not ready. That it has its moments, but communication is key. So I know that. Let's see here about budget.
Low cost, that's what I was
PB2 Miami. You have a question that goes along with an email question that we had, so I'm going to read it and then kind of answer. They said, I'm excited about trying this out and really making a business out of it, but just don't know where to start in finding pallets. The only ones I can find online are usually over $1,000. Is that really what it's needed to get started? The answer is you don't need that much money. I don't know when we spend over $1,000 on a pallet ever. I'm not sure where she was looking, but obviously in this business, the more money that you have to invest, the easier it's going to be and the faster you can get to your goals. But the great thing about it is also it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can also get started. You can start wherever you are and build up to it, but you have to have realistic expectations. That obviously, if you only have $300 or $400, you could start with that. If you have $200, you could start with that. It's going to be harder.
You're probably not going to get like a Gaylord or a 4-foot pallet.
Yeah.
But you know, liquidation isn't just pallets. You could be buying lots. You know, you can boxes of certain things. Do your research, find something that you know a lot about, something that you can resell very easily.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to start, because if you can take the $300 or $400 that you have, buy a lot as opposed to a pallet of liquidation, something that you know how to sell, that sells really easy. Turn that $300 into $600, right? And then maybe do that a couple more times. Then you'll have plenty. Then you can, you know, I mean, granted, there's a lot more to it than that. That's, I'm simplifying it very, very much. But you know, starting off small to increase your cash flow. Once you get that cash flow, you can keep moving it and keep flipping it. That's the beauty of the business.
And the thing is you've got to. You can start, like if you only have $300, you could start. You don't want to buy a pallet, because buying a pallet for $300, if you're able to go and pick it up somewhere, you could probably get a pallet for $300. But when you throw in shipping charges and residential charges and stuff, that it's gonna push that cost close to $500. But you can buy a box, a small lot of items where the percentage is going to be higher. You're not going to make as much money, but you can start there and reinvest. And this, especially when you're growing, is you have to reinvest. You have to nurse this thing like it's a baby, and a baby needs to be fed a whole lot. You can't really, and when a baby's young, you can't expect to be able to take things from that baby without that baby suffering. So you've got to nurse.
So the doula in me is like, oh.
You have to nurse your business a lot. You have to feed it a lot. You have to keep it full, or else it's going to cry and it's going to not be good. So starting slowly, reinvest in your business. I know a lot of people, like you know, 40% of Americans, they live in an environment where any bill of $600 or more that's unexpected, that you can't pay it. And even more so now because of the situation that you're in. So a lot of people, like, you don't have a lot of money. And you need to expect to make that money fast in order to live off of it. This isn't like, this is a business where you can do it, but you have to have strong self-control and making sure that you are not taking the life out of your business by taking too much money. So reinvest, reinvest, reinvest. So I hope I answered that question well.
If not, ask for clarification. Hey Joe, you talked to me a few weeks ago. I'm the guy from Tennessee. Oh hey, yeah, remember. We brought our first pallet was full of JCPenney pillows, all brand new, but we're having trouble moving them. Any tips? Just to add on to my previous, they're all over $50 MSRP and are selling for below than half because we paid around $8 a unit. We thought Facebook Marketplace would be the best place to start, but we've had no sales.
Yeah, pillows is not something that would do very well on Facebook because it's pillows. Like people, I don't know. We've only sold one lot of pillows. We've listed several pillows. Even
like throw decorative pillows.
They just don't do well. People want to go to the store. We have sold several pillows. Pillow, is that right?
Pillows?
Pillows?
Pillows.
Pillows. On eBay, but it was probably for around 50% of what the retail value was. Just because when people go pillows, pillows, it's a local big box that they go to because they want to look. But I think if you're wanting to try and get any money, the money back from them, I would try and lock them up and sell them on eBay. Because that will probably be the most money. Shipping will be a problem because of they're bulky.
I don't know. What if you had?
I guess you could vacuum seal them.
Yeah,
you can get vacuum bags.
That's what I would do.
And seal them before. That would probably save you money. But eBay, try and sell them on eBay.
Unless you don't have a vacuum sealer and you're gonna have to purchase all of it, then don't do that.
And so yeah, I would try their eBay. Lot them up, or even on Facebook if you just want to get rid of them, try and get your money back. At this point, you're probably, for us, we've ran into situations like this, like with the guns, for instance, where we thought that we were buying something we were going to be able to sell a lot faster, but you run into situations where it's not moving fast enough, and you've got money sitting there in boxes not being sold. So it kind of throws a wrench because you don't have the buying power. So sometimes you just need to get rid of it, try and get as much money back as possible. And yeah, you may not make the profit that you wanted, but you've got that cash back so that you can move on to the next thing where you can make the money. Because in this game, you got to have cash.
But this is a great learning experience. And this happens to all liquidators. So welcome to the game because that's what happens. I mean, we just did it with these guns. We were hoping that they were these little egg things. Yeah, and now we're stuck with a whole bunch of guns that if we were to sell them locally, we could probably get $5 a pop for them. So, yeah, it's a learning experience, and it happens. But I think eBay is probably going to be your best bet. I would agree with Jim on that. And in case y'all are wondering why my daughter keeps putting her stuff up, we have the comments down here, and it's delayed a little bit, so she's putting stuff up so she can see herself do it a few seconds later. So I apologize.
Sorry. This is why lives are difficult for us, but we're trying.
We do.
Lucas is sleeping.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Bo has a question about bulk.com sites. We have never purchased from bulk.com because one, I don't like the shipping. And that's because I can get better rates through our ABF but through our negotiated rates with ABF. I have looked at them several times. Most of them, you're about poking me in the eye, girl. I know that lots of people have lots of success with bulk pallets and lots, with any liquidation, you're going to win more than you lose, but sometimes it's part of that process. But I know Hooked on Pickin', the Hooked on Pickin' YouTube channel, they buy a lot from bulk, but they do a lot of stuff where they sell on Amazon. So yeah, but bulk is good. We just don't buy from them because it's a flat rate. It's like flat rate shipping, so you can't really arrange your own shipping. Because like if we were to buy 4 pallets from them, they would charge us $800 to ship, but because of where they are proximity-wise to us, it would only cost us $400 to ship. So that $400 and I'm paying them more
I'd
than
rather
what it
put
would
that
cost,
to a pallet.
I'd rather buy an extra pallet.
So that's one of those situations where I say, you know, if you ask, you know, like, this is why we want to do the live videos, because people might email us, you know, a question just like that, and we'll say, well, it doesn't work for us, but I'm not saying that it's not good and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just our business model and what we need uniquely for our business may not be the same for everyone else. And that's one of the main reasons, like, we wanted to do some live videos to be able to answer questions.
I think the key with anything in liquidation is you have everybody, it's around sourcing strategy. You have to create a sourcing strategy that works well for you based off of time, space, and money. How much space do you have? Do you live in an apartment building? Do you live where you have a large warehouse, or like us, we have like 800 square foot of workable space here where we can receive pallets and have lots of inventory? You know, how much space do you have? Also the next thing would be is how much time do you have? Are you working in a full-time job and you're wanting to be a weekend warrior and do this on your weekends and spare time to where you don't have a lot of time to do it? And how much money do you have? A little bit of money? Do you have a lot of money? You know, where are you at in that? Because those three things together are going to help you create a sourcing strategy. Because if you have a lot of space or you don't have a lot of space, we'll go with that premise. You don't have a lot of space, right? Well, you're not going to want to buy items that are big and bulky, or pallets that are big and bulky that take forever to sell, you know? Or you may want to buy big bulky items but maybe they sell super fast. But the sell-through rate, how fast it takes you to sell it, that will determine. That's a big indicator in the space you have. But if you don't have a lot of space and you're buying items that are big and bulky but it take forever to sell, then you're not going to, you know, I think you understand what I'm saying. But you also, with that, say you don't have a lot of time. You only have maybe 10 hours a week to be able to sell items, but you want to be able to make $500 profit. Well, you're not going to want to buy these high piece count pallets. You know, we get lots of questions about high piece count pallets. We love them. You can make lots of money at them, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right? Where you buy an item, you may be able to get 1,000 items for $1 a piece, but you may only be able to sell them for $15. But in order to get your $500 profit, you're going to have to list a ridiculous amount. You're going to have to list like 500 items, not 50 items. 50 items, we'll just say, I don't know, my brain. But the point is you're going to have to spend a lot more time listing all those items to make the money that you want.
Right.
But if you bought pallets that had maybe 10 larger items on it that sold for $100 a piece, then you're going to be able to make that money in a shorter period of time, because your MSRP, your sales price for those items are much higher. So those things are always have to take into consideration. If you have lots of time, then you could probably buy those high piece count pallets because you have the time to do it. But if you have money but not time, then obviously invest in the more expensive items that are going to yield you a higher dollar profit amount. You're not so much as concerned with the profit margin because you're concerned with the profit dollar. So,
hi, I have a question. I've been watching your videos, doing a ton of research. Good on you. Good job. And one question I have, is it worth getting a storage unit right off the jump, or wait? I live in an 800 square foot apartment and also work a full-time job. Well, that's interesting. Now my rule of thumb, and Joe and I may actually differ on these opinions because, like I said, it depends on your personality and everything like that. But, you know, Joe was just talking about time, space, and money. What do you have available to you? And it depends on what you want to liquidate. But if it were me, like if it were me and I lived in this place and I could make it without any extra expenses right off the bat, then I would try that first. Because you don't want to be paying for something that you may not necessarily need until you absolutely need it. And that's where we are, where we're actually rearranging our whole, you know, carport garage area. We've rearranged our storage unit. We've rearranged all these things so that we don't have to buy to get a warehouse right away. We actually were in a place probably a couple of weeks ago where we were like, okay, like we're running out of space. You know, maybe it's time to go ahead and close out the storage unit and go ahead and move into a full warehouse. and we sat down and we talked about it. We're like, well, how much longer can we make this way? Because at this point, for us, I know that if the cost of living here is a lot lower, but for us, $900 is a reasonable amount a month for a warehouse. So if we didn't have that and we could still do what we're doing now and adjust things, like that's just more profit for you. So if you don't have to do it, then don't do it. Don't do it.
I would say you reselling is a slow and steady wins the race. So many people in reselling and liquidation is they sprint because they get on YouTube or in groups and they see all these people gloating about how much money they're making. They're making all this money doing it, and it may be, but they don't really share that they've been doing it for 10 years or they have employees working for them or whatever. So then expectations, you come into it with an expectation that, I can do this really, really fast, but it's not really as fast. Things always take longer in life than what you think, and reselling is no different. And so
we've actually learned this the hard way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because it's we've got it all down and we know it. I'm saying that we found ourselves in really scary places. Because we moved too fast, or we bought more than we bit off more than we can chew, things like that. Because the thing with liquidation is if you get, 1 or 2 pallets, you're gonna have the same result on a smaller scale as if you were to buy a truckload of pallets. So start with what you can do and that you can do. Then move on to something more. And then once you get to that point where you're like, okay, now I'm at a point where I'm busting at the seams, then you rearrange your environment and try to make it work. But
if I was in an 800 square foot space, I would, and I don't know how much furniture you have, I don't know how much space you have specifically for reselling, whatever that dedicated space is, that maximize that space. If you don't have a lot of space, then I would probably try and get smaller items that can fit in big bins, to where as you have your inventory, you have the bins labeled with the number. If you list on eBay or Facebook, when you list, that you have that product identifier, that SKU number we call it, that notates where that item is located in your inventory. And you can have a 4-foot shelf, but on a 4-foot shelf that we get from Sam's, you can fit 8 of those bins, and which is probably about a half of a pallet of small items. So you can get a lot of items in there, but just start there. It's all about, if you haven't done it yet, it's all about creating systems and processes that are going to help you out. And it's easier to do that when you're starting out and you're smaller, so that you can get that. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any follow-up questions, then answer those. But I'd also say, Zach, is how do you plan on selling these items? Do you? And I think with that, I'll notate also with liquidation, the more sales channels you have, the better it's going to be. A lot of people, especially resellers who start doing liquidation and they predominantly have done, thrifting or garage selling or estate sales as their thrifting sourcing model, and they come into liquidation big time, that they want to be able to just sell on eBay. They don't really want to sell on Facebook, but with liquidation, the more sales channels you have, the easier it's going to be for you. Like when we started buying pallets, we only wanted to sell on eBay, but then our margins were smaller. We learned very quickly that we needed to be able to sell as many places as possible, local, on
come on, let me go
through
set up on a movie.
Liquidation houses to move product for us, flea market booth, garage sales, all of those places. You just need to have many sales channels and not just expect to sell it in one place, because it's not going to work well for you. So hello, Cesar and Jen Rodriguez from Pennsylvania. Nice for y'all to stop in. And then taxes, I guess you're talking about sales taxes. We sell on eBay. eBay does those sales taxes for us. There's a few states that don't, that we remit the sales tax to those places. And then here in Arkansas, we keep track of our sales tax, our sales, and where we sell items to, specifically, the county that we are, and we're on a yearly thing to where we don't have to do it except for yearly now because of our tax range. So we let them know how much our sales are, and then the tax percentage is calculated, and so forth. Yeah, and Uncle Bo is right. You start low. You start just start low. Like it's a long process. That anything in life, if it's worth building, it's going to take time to build. You can't just do it overnight. And which leads into a question I'll answer since I don't see any other questions.
Did you answer the wood pallet question?
Oh.
He wants to know how you handle the wood pallet. Can you sell it or trash it?
Both.
Both.
We
get creative with them too sometimes.
You can get probably if the pallet's in good shape, about $2 you can get for them. If you look on Facebook Marketplace, there's usually people who advertise that they buy pallets. You can get those, sell them for $2. We've given some to neighbors. I've thrown some in the dumpster. I've burned some. I'm saving some now to build some stuff for the kids, like a little vegetable stand. We're teaching the kids teaching Jolene about economy and capitalism. So we have a garden. And once we start getting to the point to where we have enough vegetables to sell, we're going to set up a little vegetable stand in the front yard. And Jolene is going to learn about selling stuff.
Y'all are asking some amazing questions, by the way. Miami wants to know how you handle taxes.
We talked about that.
We did that, okay. Let's see. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all are doing great.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Software.
We don't use any software to track inventory, just because we typically don't have more than 1,000 items at a time. And I would say that probably our inventory management, like we know where everything is, but as far as tracking everything electronically, we don't really do it, except through through eBay, through all of our eBay listings. We have a pretty good inventory system through that, but we don't track a whole lot of it. I don't, for the size that we are.
I think if we were to grow, get more employees, that might change in the future if we decided to grow this a little bit bigger than what it is. But for right now, it's one of those, it's me, Whitney, and Joe. And we unbox together, we decide what we're going to do with it together, and then we just do it. But
we keep it small.
Hey, man, I have no problems with IT geeks. For real.
And you can do it, but
You can, I'm sure there are other people out there who have... It's just we don't.
I know, like Chris from Daily Refinement, he has a spreadsheet.
He does a spreadsheet,
and I'm like, I'm
fancy.
glad that you want to know where everything is at, but I don't, that's not for me. But I know at the same time, it's good to know. I had a question that I forgot. I think that's, our sourcing strategy, is for our space, our time. Is we like to live simple lives. Like, we don't want to have a bunch of stuff. The more stuff you have and the more stuff you want, obviously the more money that you have to make. But I escaped all that. Like, I used to make, $150,000 a year working in the restaurant industry. And we make a good living. Like, it'd be nice to make that much money a year, but that's not a goal of ours.
We could easily, Joe and I have even talked about this. We're like, if we really wanted to expand this, we would put Jolene in public school, put our little ones in daycare, and then we could work, 40, 50 hours a week, and we could really
But it's not what we want.
But the reason why we decided to do this, and I'm no longer a preschool teacher and he's no longer our restaurant manager, is so that we could, have a garden and slow down.
We want the freedom.
And do all of that. So, but that requires some expense, and Joe and I have.
It has sacrifices.
We have sacrificed, having the best and latest technology, and
it's like we don't have a new car. Like, our car is 10 years old. Like, we don't have a car payment, and we don't we're talking about getting a truck because we need one, but at the same time we're like,
we don't even really want to do it.
We don't want to do it because we don't want to. We don't want to be under
the payment.
So it's like, whatever lifestyle that you want to live, just like I was talking about having that sourcing strategy, is that as you operate your business, it has to match what you want in life. And if you don't know what you want and why you want it, then none of this, you're going to continually change ideas, change sourcing models, change all of the stuff to try to chase all of these things when you don't want, because when you don't know what you want in life, you're going to chase everything to figure out what it is that you want.
Yeah.
But if you just stop chasing and figured out what it is that you do want, then you can go after that. You can align every thought and action up in your business, your personal life can line up with that. And it's a lot, it makes life a lot less complicated.
Miami, you and I have the same goals.
Yeah.
We also want financial freedom, multiple streams of income. And so that's what we're doing.
Yep.
So yeah, we have the same dream. So
And it has a
I'm
cost.
rooting for you.
It has a cost, but we enjoy, like the benefits is a rewarding life. So yeah.
David Zimmerman is next here. Profitability per deal basis or just overall revenue versus expenses? Good question. Just starting out and doing per deal currently. Not sure if that's too far in the weeds though.
Let's see. Let me read that. Do you look at a profit per deal basis? Or just
That's more of a
revenue
joke question. He's really good at that.
I think when you're just starting out, you're obviously, when you don't have a lot of, if you just have one pallet, obviously you're going to look at per deal basis, because that's the determining factor. But once you start stretching it out over 10 deals or 10 pallets or, other inventory, because like we do pallets, but it's not our only sourcing technique. Like we also do wholesale. So it's kind of like liquidation is kind of like our side hustle to wholesale. We don't talk a lot about the wholesale because we're not really trying to create competition. We don't really, it's not something that we want to do. We don't really tell what we source and why we source. It's cell phones, but we like that. But I would say a per deal basis, but over a long time, as you do more deals and you have more inventory, it's the scope of things, because one pallet you may be able to make $1,000 on or $2,000 profit on, but one pallet may be only $400, but it doesn't take away from all the other pallets, if that makes sense. Did I answer that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I mean, if not, then ask us to clarify. But I think essentially what you're saying is, when you're buying one or two pallets at a time, then a deal basis would make sense. But if you're, buying truckloads or expanding those over multiple purchase deals, then, it might be more effective just to do revenue versus expenses.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Zach says there's a local pallet liquidator out there, and he wants to know how to tell if a pallet has been touched or not been touched.
There's no way to know if that specific pallet has been touched, but that's where the relationships are key. That's where building relationships with the sales rep that's there, or the owner is there, but also talk to the customers. Ask them how long that they've been purchasing from there. Like if you're going there and you're able to talk to other people, or if they have a Facebook group, like I would talk to the customers. I would talk to the people that are buying from them, and find out how long they've been buying from them. Because if they've been buying from them for a while, chances are they don't really go through. They don't cherry pick, as what we call it.
Yeah, there are liquidator groups out there, Facebook groups out there that you can go and you can ask. Some people will tell you, and in my experience with stuff like this, you take out like the best of the best, like the amazing, like can do no wrong, and they're absolutely terrible and do everything wrong, and you find the people that are kind of in the middle, and they're probably going to be the most accurate. Kind of thing. And then, calling them up and just asking them, how do you source your pallets? What's going on? Like what's your process? Just kind of building that relationship, just kind of talking to them about, that, just to see if what they're doing and how they're sourcing and how they're,
trying to find
conducting business. Yeah.
Trying to find out if they sell individual items.
Oh, that's a
if
good
they
question.
have a store, if they sell on eBay.
Yep.
Because those are indicators that, not that they do,
but they could.
but the opportunity for them to do it is very likely, because like as a liquidator, you buying pallets, like there's probably, like with small box, like with the smaller the items, the easier it is for people to cherry pick, to pull those items out. and it's very easy to pull out the $200 or $300 items on that pallet,
And then just rewrap
and
it.
then not even have to rewrap it. Just put it back in, and you never know. But finding out if they sell on eBay or if they have a store that they sell out of, that's just going to create opportunity for them to might have the desire to do it. So, not sure if you're still on Miami, but thank you very much. And then I don't know if you can build your own pallet because that's too much labor to spend on one deal. I've never seen it done before with building if you build relationships with different liquidators, like if they're unloading a Target load or a Walmart load, that generally depending on which kind of load it is, if it's a general merchandise load like a Walmart load, that generally they do a very, very good job of organizing those pallets. Like they may have all of the sporting goods on a pallet or all the hardware on one pallet, or the small appliances or the electronics, that if you're looking for a particular thing, a particular category, that if you have a relationship with that sales rep, then and you buy from them, like the more money you spend with somebody, the more likely they are to take care of you, and the faster that you pay. All of those things are all keys for you to help build a relationship with the person. That you could tell them what you're looking for, and when they get a truckload in, they'll tell you like, "Hey, I got this pallet in today." And the better relationship that you have with them, and the faster that you pay, and the faster that you get the pallet off of their property. That's because they're fighting for space too. Like they're fighting for the same thing: time, space, money. Like they need cash flow, they need space, they don't want to spend a lot of time doing it. So
if you can help them with that, then it's a mutual benefit.
Yep. So if you pay quick and all those things, then chances are they're going to be more likely to say, "Hey, Bo, I got this pallet that I know that you like. It just came off the truck. Do you want it?" And then you're like, "Yep." You send them the money. It's paid for. You get it picked up the next day. It goes that way. So
very cool.
Yeah. I got one question because I guess it's a series of questions. They say if I hire, their goal is to make $100,000 a year. And they say, if I hire 3 people to help, is it all but impossible to make 6 figures? In your opinion, if I open up a warehouse store type place, yes, that is very likely that you could make 6 figures. But what's going to help with that and how long you want to get there is time, space, and money. That the more money you have, the more inventory you're able to purchase. With liquidation, it's all about inventory. When you're buying this stuff, it's about how much inventory do you have? What is your sell-through rate? Meaning, if I buy a pallet, how long does it take me to sell that pallet? Is it 1 month or 2 months or 3 months? So like if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, well, that's $8,500 a month that you need to make. So if you are selling, 1 pallet every 3 months, well, then in order to be able to make that $100,000 a year, whatever your expenses are, we're just talking about revenue here, that you're going to have to sell at least, $25,000 every 3 months to do that. So if you're, I think I'm complicating this too much. I'm just saying it is possible.
It's possible, but you have to have a plan to get there.
Yeah.
Like you can't don't just get a warehouse, hire 3 people, and then think that you're going to get there at any given point in time. You have to be strategic about what you're buying, how you're going to sell it, where you're going to sell it, how much you're going to sell it for, and how much time it's going to take to do all of that. So basically, taking time, space, and money and formulating it into this plan of making 6 figures and having all of that.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
It is.
But it's also it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of time
and a lot of planning. Like that's really the thing that I think, it's not so much of just, getting all the things in line, getting the inventory and doing it. It's having specific goals, like how much work do I need to put in, how much money, how much time do I need to put in so that I can meet this sales goal, which will eventually add up to me being able to make the 6 figures I have, that I want to have.
Yeah. And TJ Lovelady's in the chat, and he's got a YouTube channel. He also does liquidation. He's got 2 channels, TJ Lovelady, then he also got Pallet Jacking. So if you're interested in liquidation, they do a lot of unboxing, some vlogs, some tutorials, some how-tos. So make sure you check out his channel because it's some good stuff. I always like to watch a lot of his videos because they buy pallets that we don't, but I've wanted to. So yes. James, yes. I would, you don't lose anything by doing so. Because you're more likely to get better shipping rates with the same company if you're using them a lot. We have a company that we use, it's Arkansas Best Freight, and we use them because they give us really good rates. We can pretty much, anywhere in the United States, we can have 4 pallets shipped for $400 to $500 depending on the exact weight and dimensions of those pallets, and that's really good rates. So I would try to get your own rates, but obviously the more pallets you ship, the more buying power you have, the better prices you get. So, and then I think Uncle Bo, you're talking about, do I ever do like a Saturday night auction? If we do auctions like slow items, I know some people do. We don't do that because I don't like to work weekends. It's a deterrent to our business, not really working on the weekends. But we don't really like to. It's part of our why. I think that's your question. If you're still on, clarify if that's not your question, so that I know. But it is an option. But a lot of items that we get also are bigger, bulky items that we don't want to mess around shipping. If it's some other items, possibly. And we do some Facebook, they're really auctions that we have a Facebook group that we have, a selling group that's our own, that only our items sell in there, that we call it first dibs sales. So that after we unbox a pallet, Jessica gets on there and we do a first dib sale that we give them the opportunity to buy those items first at a discounted price.
Then they're already discounted.
Discounted. They do a discounted price that we give them the first opportunity to buy that. And the last time we did it, we sold, I think, $400 off of the 2 pallets.
And we didn't have to list them.
So that's something that we're doing that's growing. Obviously, the more people in the group, the more people that will participate in those. Yeah. That's something that we are working on doing.
You want to get down?
So I think that's it. If anybody else has any questions, we try to keep these to about an hour, and we're right at 63 minutes.
Mostly because we value your time, and I think sometimes we have so much information, but
we'll stick on for a few minutes, Tendra, and make sure we appreciate you subscribe. We've had a lot of subscribers that have subscribed over the last
really exciting.
Couple months. We really appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it. It makes it, I'm making videos and stuff, and so it's always encouraging when people do subscribe and they do comment. We appreciate it, and I know we've got exciting things coming for you guys, especially those who've been here for a while, those who are just joining in. We've got exciting news that we'll be able to announce in the next month or so. But the beginning of August, it's got something big happening for us, and it's pretty exciting. So
Joe's phone's making all sorts of weird noises.
A message, but it's not. Yeah, it won't go away. It's my sideline number. If you're in liquidation or whatever, I've got a sideline number that people can call that I know it's for business versus personal cell phone number. So it's the weird number. So did she have any other questions?
I don't know. I thought I saw something pop up, but
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions after we get off, feel free to email me, jessica.rinsing@thefamilyflips.com. So you'll
And it
have
should
that.
be in the description, I think, too.
It should also be in the description, true. And then also, or you can just comment here. We read all the comments.
Yeah.
So if you comment on here, if you're watching the replay and you have any questions, feel free to comment there. Woohoo! That's exciting.
And I will, thank you so much. I was fixing, we're plugging this. Desi's going nuts over here. There's a fly getting him, so I apologize. We have just created a Patreon page that we're looking for people to join our Patreon, to join our family.
Our partridge in a pear tree.
Ultimately, is we like to keep our videos commercial free.
Patreon.
And a way to do that, a lot of people on YouTube, I was saying earlier that we spend a lot of time. I think we make like $1 an hour.
But we love
when we
doing
do YouTube. So we're not in it for the money, but at the same time, every minute that we spend doing YouTube, every time, that's money that takes away from our business that we could be investing in and making immediate money there. So we have started a Patreon group that there's going to be special stuff that we're going to start doing, special live videos there. We're going to be doing behind the scenes stuff. We're also going to open up quarterly, so every 3 months, we are going to invite Patreon members to come and spend the weekend with us and get to learn more about liquidation, from sourcing to selling. And while you're here, we'll do an unboxing video with you, and that way you can be part of that. So it's something that we are doing, that we just started, and link should be down in the description. If not right now, it should be after the video. So if you're looking at doing that, we would greatly appreciate it. But it helps us keep commercials out of the middle parts of the video.
Liquidation is something that we have a passion for. Mostly we have a passion for people to have financial freedom to do the things that they want to do. And so, we want to be able to keep sharing that. What's the matter? Okay. We want to be able to keep sharing that with you. It is a passion of ours, but also we've come to this point now where we can't do any more without sacrificing our business and our family. And so in order for us to do that, we have to find a way to make this where we can actually do it. So what are you doing back there?
Bowling.
Oh, okay.
Lucas wanted to bowl. Oh, you actually see it on camera.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing back there? But yes, so that's all of that. There's more information. I believe it's in the description below about that. But we do very much appreciate y'all's support and all of the questions. Keep them coming. Like I said, comment, email me. We'll try to do these a little more often because I feel like
we
been
quit doing them for a while. It was hard, but I think for us is sometimes I have to take my own advice.
What?
And know that slow and steady wins the race, and not. Sometimes I like to do a lot of stuff at once because I get very excited about things and about ideas and potential, not potential, but potential. So I'm like, let's just do it all. And sometimes that's so funny.
Lucas.
And sometimes that's hard to do. But we're committed to doing these live videos, and we're committed to doing more mailbag question type videos, answering questions, because I know a lot of that information would be helpful for a lot of you that are out there. So
we don't claim to know everything, but we'll share what we do know. So
we know a little bit, and that's just because I've messed something up somewhere
usually
along
from
the
our
way.
own mistakes. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Okay, well, if nobody else has any questions or anything, we're going to go ahead and jump off of here. I think our kids want to play bowling, so
Yes.
we'll go ahead and do that. But
Yep.
we love you guys. We bless you. Thank you guys so much. And until next time.
Peace.
Peace.
And that's always the awkward part of turning this off.
Turning it off. There's
There
an
you go.
X button.